Isaiah 30, verse 21. And when you turn to the right, or when you turn to the left, your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, This is the way, walk in it. This is the way, walk in it. The word for today is wisdom.
Now we're going to listen to the daily word in Spanish.
Good morning. La palabra de hoy es sabiduría. La sabiduría guía mis palabras y acciones. Cuando he tenido dudas sobre qué camino tomar o cómo enfrentar una situación difícil, probablemente he orado en busca de claridad y guía. A medida que he crecido espiritualmente, he descubierto que cualquier visión clara y guía que necesito están dentro de mí, como parte de mi herencia divina. La sabiduría divina es mi capacidad de intuir, sentir y discernir cuál es la mejor decisión. Presto atención a mis corazonadas, a los destellos de inspiración y a los susurros de guía que surgen en mis momentos de quietud. Reconozco que, aunque inesperados, estos momentos están divinamente inspirados. Con confianza y gratitud, avanzo hacia mi mayor bien, confiando plenamente en mi sabiduría interior. Entonces oirán estas palabras: Este es el camino, vayan por él, no se desvíen. Isaías 30:21. Thank you.
Our Creator, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. You are sacred love, sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God, sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed peace, blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace, God, Show the way, God. Lead the way, God, lead the way. Want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are deepest joy, deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy, God, deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are sacred love, sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God, sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are.
And so now I invite you to get still and comfortable, allowing the seat beneath you to support you. Taking a deep breath in and letting go. Being present to this now moment. Releasing any chatter and the attachment to the chatter. Just letting it flow through. Taking another deep breath in and anchoring into that heart center. Allowing ourselves a time of rest, a time to be, present with the divine mind, that higher self, whatever name you choose to call it. Being open and receptive to the unlimited possibilities that are flowing in and through you, all around us as a community. Feel the energy of life flowing through your body, the physical temple that houses your soul. Remembering your divine nature, the truth of who you are. continuing to move inward. We release any conceptions in the outer world, any challenges, any concerns, and focus on this time and this place, in this moment. Feeling the joy radiating through your entire being. Knowing that you are wise, and with guidance, wisdom flows through you. And with wisdom comes understanding. The understanding of your true self. That self-awareness with compassion allows us to shift, grow, and transform. We transform into the being of love that is already there, present, always within you. Now I invite you to see that golden light of healing surrounding your physical being. Flowing all around your body, clearing and cleansing away what is no longer needed. And we pull that radiant light down into the being from the top of our head, gently swirling through the whole physical body, flowing back into Mother Earth, transforming into good all that we no longer need. And as this golden light continues to flow through us, lighting up and radiating every cell in the body, every muscle, every system, every organ, we are vibrantly alive and awakened to the joy that is being manifested through us right now. And as that joy radiates through every cell of our body, through every system, through every organ, our emotional state of being is balanced. Whole. Filled with love. Filled with peace. Filled with calm. It is from this place of balance that we enter now into the silence. It is from the state of peace that we join together all of our energies in this room, that peaceful presence, that love, that compassion, that understanding and wisdom, into the radiant colors of life. And we see all the colors coming together inclusively with our diversity, our well-being, the life of all beings, the soul of all of oneness. And we send that radiant ball of color into the neighborhood, touching every soul, bringing compassion, love, and peace. And we send it out further around the city, bringing joy, love, compassion, and peace. We send it over our state, especially to all of those who have been marooned by the waters rising, seeing them through this challenge with ease and grace, surrounding them and flooding them in that joy, that love, that compassion, with understanding. And now collectively we send joy, love, peace, and harmony to all the leaders in our country and in the world. We surround our country and the world in the radiant golden light as love, flooding the healing energies through every being, every soul on this planet, knowing that in truth we are in oneness together. We live in harmony with joy, love, and integrity in every decision that is made. We make it for all of us in the oneness of life. And so it is, so it shall be. Amen.
I have discovered in my 70s, falling down really is no good.
So I'd like to thank Les and Val and whoever else is involved for allowing me to play for y'all. Some of my favorite people in the whole world. And this song I'm going to do right now, I first heard this song in 1968. Yep, I was there. And but I was just a boy. My dad had bought me a guitar, $35 brand new. But I learned to play a few chords on it, and I love this song. Even though I grew up in my boyhood years, let's just say our community wasn't very diverse like it is now. When all that stuff started happening, people being assassinated and things, and I'm like, something's not right. Yeah, so this song really touched me, but I didn't learn it back then because I was just still trying to play stuff like 6 Days on the Road and I'm Gonna Make It Home Again, country stuff. And I didn't have the skills really, I didn't think to play this song. So when I was offered opportunity to play here today, I was thinking about what might work, fit the theme of Black History Month. And I knew one song that was kind of a genre that I've played a whole lot, but I thought of this song, and I thought, well, maybe I can learn it now. And so I spent a little time messing with it, so hope you all like my interpretation of this. Abraham, Martin, and John. Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? Freed a lot of people, but it seems a good die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Has anybody here seen my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? Freed a lot of people, but it seems a good die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Anybody here seen my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? Freed a lot of people, but it seems a good die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Didn't you love the things that they stood for? Didn't they try to find some good for you and me? And we'll be free someday soon, and it's gonna be one day. Is anybody here seen my old friend Bobby? Can you tell me where he's gone? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So this is our fourth Sunday in Black History Month. So the first thing I want to do is challenge you to not think of February as Black History Month, but to think of it as American History Month, performed and influenced by Black people. Let me restate that. American history informed and influenced by Black Americans. Because that's what we are, right? So before I introduce our speaker today, I want to again thank the committee that worked with me to put this month together and all our speakers. And I understand our speaker from last week that we had to delay because of inclement weather will be speaking in next week. Okay, great. So Ramisi, who has been here before, and many of you are familiar with her, was our third speaker for the month, and she'll be speaking next week. So hang in there. We're going to have a little overlap of American history by Black people, Black American Month in March. So again, before I introduce Velvet Welch, our speaker for today, and we're excited to hear what she has to share about her journey through America and this community specifically. I want to remind you again that there are handouts in the back that will speak to and enable you to do a little more research on some of the topics that were brought to light this month. In addition, two other comments I want to make, because I would be remiss to not at least mention the halftime show at this year's Super Bowl, which was tremendous. It certainly was a honorarium to Black culture and its influence in America. And I have to say, now, I don't watch the Super Bowl, so I actually didn't see the halftime show live, but there was such, well, my daughter watched it, and she kind of said, oh my, you need to see this, but in any event, there has been such a reverberation around that show. It's very rare, I think, in our lifetimes that we get to witness history and know we're witnessing it when it's happening. And I would dare say that that is true of that performance. So I encourage you to go out on YouTube, watch it. Now you'll probably have to do like I did, because I didn't really understand most of it, but there are, in the ensuing 2 weeks, there has been a plethora of people on YouTube and TikTok and, you know, those platforms who have uncoded that message. So I encourage you to go out and find it and enjoy it, because I've watched it now several times and each time get a slightly different or more of an interpretation. The last thing I want to leave you with before I introduce Velvet is something I bumped into last night, I guess by no coincidence, and it has to do with the Statue of Liberty, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but again, I'm going to encourage you to go out and do some research on your own. But this is what I heard last night. And it was a talk by a Dr. Joy DeGruy, I think is how her name is pronounced, Degruy. And we'll add this to the website, the link to this YouTube. But in essence, she talked about the fact that the Statue of Liberty, although we think of it as the symbol of immigration in this country and welcoming the huddled masses, it actually was. And I never knew this. And New Yorker, I've been to the Statue of Liberty several different times, and never heard this before. That the statue was this part I knew, was a dedication to the U.S. by France at our centennial, the centennial of our Declaration of Independence. What I never heard and/or was aware of was that in addition to that, it was to acknowledge and celebrate the abolition of slavery. And in fact, at the foot of Lady Liberty, and originally in her left hand, yes, there were chains, broken chains. And there was a lot of controversy about that. And so they took the chains off out of her hands and put broken chains and what do they call those? What's that? Shackles, thank you. That was the word I was searching for. At her feet. Now, the problem with them being at her feet is that you can't see them from the base. But I understand, and I mentioned this woman's name because she started, if you will, questioned that at the statue, and ultimately, and I guess this started a couple of years ago, I'm not sure how I missed it in 2022, but they built a museum, they pulled out the original images of the original model for the statue with the chain, so they have a picture, a museum with that picture in, and now the park rangers, when you go through and do your tour of the statue, talk about the original intent of the statue and who it was dedicated to, not only the people of the United States, but the recently freed slaves, if you will. So, just another little bit of history that at least I didn't know. I hear Reverend Val kind of agreeing as I'm talking, so she's aware of this history, but the vast majority of Americans, black, white, and other, are not. So I share that with you. On to our speaker, Velvet Welch. Velvet Welch was born and raised in Louisville. She has been married 43 years to Hiram Welch. Together, they have one daughter, Christy Welch. She is a proud retired veteran, having served 20 dedicated years in the United States Army. She holds a Master of Divinity from Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary and a Master's of Art in Christian Ministry with an emphasis on youth from Grand Canyon University. Additionally, she earned a Bachelor of Art in Psychology from Ashford University. She is deeply involved in her community. She is a Jefferson County Master Gardener, which allows her to combine her love for nature with her desire to beautify and serve the community. Without further ado, Velvet.
Good morning, Unity. Good morning. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come and share my story, and as she said, how being African American in America has how I see it and how I have lived through it. Being in a week, I'll be 64. So I'm grateful to have been born in America, and I love the United States, and my time in the military has been great. I like to thank some of my dear friends who invited me here. Suzanne, she's such a charm and a dear to me. Thank you so much, Suzanne. And some of my dear friends and supporters I hear, I thank you so much for coming out and supporting me. It is a love, a passion I love. And so as this clicker says here, I meant the clicker. Let me test it. So do I turn it on? Okay. Oh, toward you. Gotcha. I'm still not. I might need some assistance with it. Okay.
Yep, it's not working. You're gonna have to do it manually. Sorry.
Okay. I hope this presentation resounds in your ears and falls softly on your heart, because my intention is to just come and share my love that I have for the West End of Louisville. As she was speaking through some of my educational studies, that Lady Liberty, she was originally a statue of a black woman. And so what we see now is not that statue that was originally, that had the shackles at the feet. And as she said, you almost have to come over on a helicopter to take and see it. So I appreciate that history. One of my dear friends, he has this quote, and he says, "I have a passion for truth. Therefore, I bear this passion with fruit." And that resonates with me so much, because me being a master gardener and a farmer, I see everything in the eyes of a seed. Everything that God has done to make creation what it is, that's how I see things. You can go to the next click. Sacred Earth, my talk today will be about Sacred Earth Community Garden, from blight to plenty, a Redline story that I want to tell you all about. Going down into the West End of Louisville, which is my beloved community. My path began there in 2020. As with probably a lot of people, when the pandemic happened, I went to Kroger and there wasn't no food, and I was like, oh no, not being able to eat, that ain't gonna ever happen to me and mine again. So I started growing inside my own garden at home. And so I have a beautiful garden at home with everything that I need to eat. And I start thinking, it's not just about me and my family, it goes beyond that. And so I grew up in the West End of Louisville. You can go to the next one. I grew up in the West End of Louisville, and about 50 feet from where my garden is my automata. I went to Shawnee High School, and I live like 100, maybe 100 yards, I'm not good with meters and feet, from where my garden is. And so I have a brother who was part of this program. The redlining that you see here, and it just amazed me as I start doing this presentation, I start seeing that the city count is shaped like Africa. I was like, what a coincidence that's like that. Amazing. But Sacred Earth Community Garden, being in the West End of Louisville, is impacted by the historical redlining. As I began to do this research, redlining began far back as 1917. That was where the governments began to set up a history of race, class, and real estate. And it took almost now, 80 years to make that deterioration and the destruction that was set up to be seen. Although redlining is abolished and done away with and is illegal, But the side effects of things is what we are beginning to take and see the residue of. In 1970, the Supreme Court set up a zoning to where they decided that Herbert Hoover decided in 1924 that real estate would be the instrument that they use to take and make the determinant of race. So racism was put to a point to where if you were associated with anything black, then whatever you owned would begin to go down. And so this map is showing that originally this area here in the blue, this is Shawnee community right here, this area in the blue up here. The yellow area is Russell, and all this red area is dealing with downtown Louisville, and then all this area out here is where a lot of the affluent Caucasian people live. And so red is supposed to be the worst, blue is the best, green is where some things have begun to touch and start going down, but they had the effects of the blue being quite the best. And then yellow was the effects of, you know, where it's just going down. But if you was in the red, you definitely didn't want to be there. So what was going on in Louisville, the blacks were scattered throughout Louisville like checkers. It was like a chessboard. You know, we were spaced everywhere. But then in 1930, Roosevelt had something set in place called the Home Owners Loan Corporation. So the HOLOC was a $3 billion program that was set up to take and bring in property value. So the first class being, like I said, being the green, and then the second class being the blue, and the third class being the yellow, and the fourth class being the red. Of course, you understand that that's where most of the black Americans were, in where it is red. But in 1968, there was something that happened called the white flight. The white flight began to take everything that was in those areas downtown to where they wanted to take and build up the communities. Everybody began to take and move out of those areas because black people were near them, because they understand now, oh, I have real estate, and if my neighbor is black, then the value of my property ain't gonna be no good. So we need to take and come out of that area in the Shawnee, Chickasaw area and all that area, and take and come out to where it's more affluent, to where they won't be able to come out to. Russell is one of the areas that is really original. The people in Russell were black, and that's where a lot of people still are. In the Russell neighborhood is still black. But that is one of the most dangerous areas that they say in our city. Even though there's criminalization and murders going around everywhere, they're only taking build up what happens with the black people, even though murders are happening everywhere in the whole city. So when the blacks began to stay in these areas, because the real estate was made to be of no value. Some of the real estate was to be between $0 to $50,000. My mom, when she moved down there from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, she bought her real estate for $14,000, which is a blessing back 60 years ago. Sadly to say, her property is still close to $20,000. Now this is a house, a real estate that has 4 bedrooms. You know, we grew up in this, my mother had 11 kids and we grew up in this house. But the property, because it's down in that community, has not grown any equity over all that time. And so this is what they're doing to the Redline, to the community that we are living in. You can go to the next slide. Because there is no real estate coming into that community, there's no grocery stores. In that whole community, we have 2 grocery stores, 2 Krogers, one on 26th and Broadway, and one on 38th in Portland. This community is serving close to 56,000 African Americans with 2 stores, 2. In the East End, you can go every other block, and there's a Myers, a Target, this and that, you know, and it just really breaks my heart that this homeowners association set up to where they say, okay, if you bring your business down there, it ain't gonna make no money, it ain't gonna make no value. They say things like, they're gonna rob you to death, you're not gonna do it, you know, so just a whole lot of stereotypes that happen. That's why the Walmart that was scheduled to come down into their community didn't come down there, because they say it's just, you know, a place to where you will not grow, you will not be able to survive, you will not have any success. In 1968, when the white flight happened, I was a little girl, but there was a riot and fires and the people, and so I didn't understand none of that until now that I'm trying, you know, doing the study where I'm seeing that all this was predetermined, and it was something that was set up to take and destroy people, you know, to cause them to fall in and deteriorate within their own selves. Chickasaw Park was called the Negro Park. The Homestead, I think, is the name of the family that built that park specifically for black people. But the irony of it is, they didn't live in that community, so they couldn't come to it. Chickasaw Park now, along with Shawnee Park, is the only 2 parks down in that area that is utilized by the African Americans. Unlike the parks out here, there's you can drive through and stuff. We used to take a walk through the parks and enjoy the park and had a good time. Now they got the parks about blocked off. You can't ride through and hang out and do the things, because they figure like where there's a lot of black people, there's going to be a lot of issues and stuff going on, instead of allowing the people to enjoy the nature and be able to take and grow. So what has happened and has set up is a food desert. The people do not have, they have to go at least a mile, or a mile or more to take and get to food. They don't have cars. So can you imagine packing these plastic bags, trying to walk more than a mile to try to get home with your groceries? It is just set up to where they would deteriorate within themselves. So, of course, the ghetto now, as it's labeled, is set up to where it's just SSI, EBT, homeless people, poor whites, and poor blacks. So, of course, people who can afford to buy a house, when their children are messing up, they put them out of their house and say, okay, I'm gonna buy you a house, but I'm buy it down in the West End where it's $20,000, and I put you down there where you can take and hang out with the people who you acting like. You know, it's just such a terrible stereotype. You can go to the next one. Mayor Fisher, in 2022, he started a program called the Blight to Plenty program. And I was the chair of the Shawnee implementation team, which he had set up to begin to have this turn around. He wanted every blighted property, which means it's deteriorating, falling in on itself. His dream was to make every space a green space. I thought that was the greatest thing. My brother, he had a business, and where Sacred Earth Community Garden down on 41st and Market is located now. He had a blighted property in the back, so I asked him, I said, can we tear down that property and make the garden? And so this is the space that you see right here that was torn down, and we made the community garden out of it. You can go to the next. Sacred Earth is, like I said, my beloved community. I grew up there. Even though I live in the East End now, my heart and my soul is in the West End of Louisville. I come out of my house and, you know, neighbors, they just say, you know, we still don't know each other. I can walk down in the West End and I'm not afraid. I love the community. I say hi to, you know, we just talk and carry conversation. That is my beloved community. Martin Luther King said, the end of nonviolence action is reconciliation. The end is redemption. The end is the creation of the beloved community. And that's what I have created. I call my youth, who I hire between the ages of 16 and 24, young urban gardeners. And so each letter stands for YUGS. So when you hear me saying youngs, that's who I'm talking about, my young urban gardeners. These are my children. I have sometime anywhere between 12 to, most of the time between 15 to 30. Because I don't have enough funds, I can only have up to maybe about 15 to 18 because I cannot fund all of them. So I pay them $15 an hour to come and learn the symbiotic relationship between the earth and them so they can understand who they are and how they connect with everything. So Sacred Earth was originally funded through OCEAN, which is the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhood. And they created that because the death rate was so high. You can go to the next. In that community. Back in 2022, the death rate that year was over 100, and I think it was 68 murders of young kids in that community. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to become a part of that. I became a 501c3 to where I can understand how to take in request funds to be able to help the youth that's down there. This is Sacred Earth Community Garden now. The blighted space is a beautiful green space. The fence that is put up was put up by the Youth of Liberty, which they call Troubled Youth, and Habitat for Humanity. I have had so many people come in and help with this program that I'm just so excited. So for 3 years, it was just like, you know, a garden. Who wants to do garden? Kids want to play basketball. Black kids want to play, you know, football. They want to take and do these things. I'm like, those things are good too. But we are in a food desert. How are they going to eat when they get hungry and cannot go and be so weak to play basketball? So God told me, if I build it, they will come. And it is just a wonderful program. The kids follow me from year to year. I have students now that are graduated from the program, and some have started their own farms, have chickens on it. One is getting ready to get some land. And they're texting me now, when do we start the program? So it's a year-round gardening program that's going to start the 15th of March, and we go all the way to December. And I normally try to take me a little reprieve between December and March, but now going through the National Conservation Resource Center, I have gotten a high tunnel. So that means that I can work year-round, right? Be careful what you ask for, right? But my goal is to take and get to start a farmer's market. So I am going to generate as much food as I possibly can to create this farmer's market. In the front of the building, you can go to the next slide. In the front of the building, we have classrooms to where, that's the building on the side. It's a classroom to where we do things like Tai Chi with Dr. Dre, and I think Lady Di, she comes and she teaches meditation from the Earth and Spirit Center. They volunteer and come and help the kids learn that. They learn Qigong. This young man here, his name is Noah. He set up a trade station to where when the food comes out, my motto is to help yourself and leave some for your neighbor. Get as much as you can, but just know that you got a neighbor that wants to eat as well. And so the trade stations has the food setting out there. Because of the stereotype that's in that community, they won't even take the food. I'm like, my God, it's not stealing. I put this big old sign out there, free food, you know. It is for you to take, you know, but I am so grateful that the honesty is there, you know, and so we would do a better job of promoting this food is for you. And it is a community because the community is supposed to come out. And so what we'll be working on this year is having my youth to go out and find where the elders are in our community, take them food baskets, help cut their yards. We're doing a program that's called Young Contractors, to where they will go into the community. My goal is to see every blighted property, like Mayor Fisher said, to be a green, beautiful space. To come down off of that River Park area, they cut the trees there and they just like butchered them. I mean, they just falling all down. My heart was just like crushed. I would love to see just flowers and flowers, you know, where you come in, you see beauty. So that's the thing that I'm teaching the children. just because you are in this place, you do not have to be what is there. You don't have to be the end result of it. I want them to understand that within them flows beauty, and without them and throughout them, will go the beauty. So they love to farm, they love to take and hang out. The socialization is there. You can go to the next slide. And so this is them learning how to do Tai Chi and Qigong. And the speakers come. You can go to the next. So we have a living classroom. Sacred Earth's mission is to be a living classroom that employs the youth to grow nutrition, produce as they understand the symbiotic relationship. And so having a nature-based therapeutic relationship will help them to understand that everything that is said about you, about gun violence and who you are, that's not who you are. You are created in the image of the Most High. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. I help them to understand that when we come in, we play this little balmy drum, and I'll balmy the drum to help them to understand the energy that they have within them is the energy that I want them to project, to take and grow into a healthy space. You can go to the next slide. So the therapeutic portion of this of the garden is lowering the crime rate. This is the whole purpose of this, is to be an anti-violent coalition program. And it is doing exactly that. These kids are not going out doing the trouble and being in the trouble. As a matter of fact, one of the little guys who started with me, he had an ankle bracelet on and he was in trouble and he had been in some gun violence, and he just thought that I was going to throw him away because he had gotten in trouble. But I told him, I said, no, this is what this program is for, to help you to take and grow and to be a better person and we all make mistakes, but we get up. We just dust ourselves off. Only two type of people, the caught and the uncaught, and you just happen to get caught in what you was doing. So we want to take and make sure we change you so that you don't continue to do those things and fall into those pit holes. And so this year, because my other yugs have gone out and they have created themselves to do farming, I chose him. Oh, he was so touched to be my lead supervisor. He was like, excuse me, you said you want me to be your supervisor? I said, I want you to be my supervisor because there is so much in you. I want you to be able to see that what is in you is not what has been said about you. And so yesterday we went out and we did some pruning of some trees that's in the community, and his demeanor is just, has risen. And so now he will be able to be that point to where he's bringing, I got a couple of guys that, I hang out with, is it okay to come? Yes. Those are the ones that I want, the ones that are at risk of going to prison from high school. I have a lot of good kids in the community that come, but those who are troubled and who parents are having the most difficulty with, those are the ones that Sacred Earth is trying to help to come to a therapeutic place. And so they have a space to where they can come in and just hang, and they really love each other. Next slide. This is just showing the work. So the garden is set up to where we have 20 beds inside our garden. We grow everything from asparagus to zucchini. We have 2 apple trees, pear trees, olive trees. I mean, it is a small space. It's only about 4,000 square feet, but we putting a lot of stuff in there because we're using trellises and everything to make things grow. And now we got this high tunnel. Woo-wee, I'm excited. This is my first year growing. So we're gonna have a lot of food. So if y'all want some homegrown organic vegetables, come down to 136 Tate Place down on 41st and Market and get you some because it's all free, okay? Eventually we'll try to have a farmer's market where we can make money. You can go to the next slide. So what do we need? I do have a utility bill. I am trying to buy a truck for my yugs so that they can go around and do the work within the community. I have to buy snacks and different things like that and pay my speakers and things to come in. But I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunity to take and share with the youth what God has given me, and to be able to have a green space for them to live in, a space to breathe, a space to have a place to decompress. That's what Sacred Earth provides. And so I'm just so grateful that you all allowed me to come and share this with you all. The Redline District is there, but we're going to talk about in our podcast program that we have how to erase that bloodline, how to erase that line. And so we'll be doing a lot of things with the youth this year. And I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to share with you all and to be with you all. I love unity, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Can you read out your website, because from the back you can't read that.
Oh, okay. You can contact us at Sacred Earth Community Garden. The email address is sacredearthcg23@gmail.com. And if you would like to make donations, you can donate to sacredearthcommunitygarden.com/donate. And everything that comes in goes directly to the youth. Like I said, I pay them $15 an hour. And so $90 will supply money for one yug for a day. And so I'll be doing different campaigns trying to get the money to allow them to come. I hate turning them away, but I can only, have what I can have. So thank you very much. Appreciate you.
I really enjoyed that talk, Bill. Yeah, so for people who grew up in Louisville, I'm gonna tell you a joke. If you're not from around here, you might not get it. A Louisvillian have to explain it to you. So what do people who live in the east end of Louisville call people who live in the south end of Louisville? Mom and Dad. I went even further with it. I said, what do people who live in the east end call people who live in the west end? Grandma and Grandpa. Yeah, and that might not be totally true, but I know Mom and Papa lived on Broadway between 17th and 18th Street. Yeah. So, yeah, I know a little bit about the history of Louisville, but this song, I'm ready to play for you. It's an old country song, and been around for a while. And when I heard it, I thought this song talks about how love can bridge people together. And it's a song about a time in the South and a young man and an older black man who had been born a slave. And although it doesn't say so directly in this song, I realized, I always imagined the young man to be a white boy, and that he loved this old black man to live close by his home. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's called Catfish John. Mama said, don't go near that river. Don't be hanging round old Catfish John. But come the morning, I'd always be there, walking his footsteps in that sweet Delta dawn. Born a slave in the town of Vicksburg, traded for a chestnut mare. He never spoke a word in anger, though his load was hard to bear. Mama said, don't go near that river. Don't be hanging round old Catfish John. But come the morning, I'd always be there, walking in his footsteps in that sweet Delta dawn. Catfish John was a river hobo. He lived down by the river's bend, looking back I still remember I was proud to be his friend. Mama said, don't go near that river, don't be hanging around old Catfish John. But come the morning, I'd always be there, walking in his footsteps that sweet Delta dawn. Let me dream of another morning from a time so long ago, when those sweet magnolias blossom and the cotton fields were white as snow. Mama said, don't go near that river, don't be hanging round old Catfish John. But come the morning, I'd always be there, walking in his footsteps in that sweet Delta dawn. Yeah, come the morning, I'd always be there, walking in his footsteps in that sweet Delta dawn. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Great music, great talk. Thank you, Velvet, again. That's so informative. I love that program that you're doing. I just think that's the best thing. Angels do work on this earth. Thank you for being one. Now we're going to take our offering in our hand as we say the blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Dear Spirit, we are so thankful for these offerings given in love and devotion. May they nurture our church home, our spiritual family, and all those in need. And so it is. Amen.
All right, and now our chaplains will be here to pray with you. I'm not sure who's on duty today, but we'll pray with you, whoever needs prayer. And then we're going to say our prayer for protection. Before we do that, I want to just say thank you all for staying. I know we've run over a few times the last few weeks, and we've just been really energetic and for all of our great speakers. So stand for our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now for our peace song.
Now there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and now it begins